That's the light.
Plankton!
Hey, I was watching that.
Hey, what's up soldiers? My name is GregFPS, the Zombies Extraordinaire, and welcome back to another Call of Duty Zombies Top 10. Today we're going to be counting down the top 10 hardest Easter egg steps, but before I get into it, I just want to say I am a little sick, so my voice is going to sound a little extra raspy, and also my voice is probably going to crack a few times, so just give me a break on that. But I also wanted to say a huge thank you to you guys for last week's episode where I uploaded the top 10 noob mistakes in Call of Duty Zombies. You guys absolutely killed that video. It had over 1,000 comments, over 1,000 likes. You guys absolutely wrecked that one. And a quick shout out to Dog Catcher, who commented 9 times on the video. I thought I would just include this in here. That's insane, dude. Thank you. But anyways, guys, I want to say that next week we're going to be doing the top 10 pro zombies moves. These are things that a pro zombies player would do, and don't comment not go down because that's kind of obvious, but these are things that you think make a really good zombies player. So that's what we're going to be doing next week. So without further ado, let's get right into the top 10 hardest Easter egg steps in Call of Duty Zombies. Alright guys, the first hard step was commented by the Warhunter1234, and he said Call of the Dead dials or the foghorn step. So the foghorn step is pretty easy, but as far as the dials go, there are a few steps you need to do before you actually do the dial step, so that can mess up and then the foghorns won't work and you won't get the green light from the lighthouse. But as far as the dials go, it's really not that hard. What you need to do is change the top one to 2, then you go to the second level down from the top and you have to count how many times it takes to get to 7, and you change the third floor or second from the bottom that many times, then you change the bottom one to 6, then you go up to the second floor and count how many turns it takes to get to 4, and you change the one on the third level that many times, then you change the top one to 2, and then it will always be the correct sequence of numbers, which is 2, 7, 4, 6. I know it's kind of hard to explain, but when you actually do it, it just makes way more sense. It's really not that hard as long as you know what you're doing. It's pretty easy. Alright guys, the next comment is from Zombies Key, and he said the hardest Easter egg step in Zombies history is hands down the Dairei's Mahjong tiles step. So yes, this step is very difficult, and if you guys don't know how it works, basically there's going to be 8 tiles that you need to find around the map out of 11 possible locations. Now there's going to be pairs of 2 that you're going to be finding, and a color is going to coordinate with whatever location or order you're going to be punching the pylon that's on top at the end of the Easter egg. So basically blue is always going to be represented by the south, then red always the east, green is always north, and black is always west. Now this is kind of confusing, but basically you need to find these tiles, and looking at the different color of them is going to determine which order you punch them in, and you always punch it with Galvanuckles in the north first, and then you have to find the order that corresponds from the other tiles that you find around the map. So it is very hard and confusing to explain, but once you kind of understand it, it's really easy. If you ever want to do this Easter egg, just look up a guide. There's a lot of guides that really show exactly what you need to do for sure. The next comment is from Special C, and he said Garage Crovey valve step on solo equals impossible. So I wouldn't say this one is impossible, but it can be very tricky. You want to save a zombie for sure. So what I usually do for this Easter egg, and what everyone does pretty much now, is there's a few websites that actually have the ability to solve this for you. So all you need to do is find out the endpoint where the valve actually is, and the starting point, which is the one that has the green light out of the 6 different valves. Now what you have to do is enter those, and it will say the exact combinations that you need to change for each of them so you can change it. Now there's 6 around the map, and you just have to change it to 1 out of the 3 numbers, and it will actually end up working every time. So I'd recommend using a website for this just because it makes it so much easier. But once you use the website, it's pretty much easy to do, and it's not difficult at all. The next comment is from Kobe, and he said hardest step: Nikolai boss fight in Gorod. So there are a lot of different tactics that you can use for the Nikolai boss fight, and I would highly recommend using Idolize, which is a new gobblegum that keeps you and your teammates, invisible for 30 seconds. You can also use Fear and Headlights is another good one. So there's a lot of different ways around this boss fight that make it really easy with gobblegums. But if you're not using gobblegums, all you have to do is shoot the two things on either side, and then once you shoot those, there's going to be another thing that pops up on the top of his mech suit, and then you have to shoot the bottom. And once you do that, it's really easy. But if you have like the best setup for it with gobblegums, you can literally down him in like 15 seconds really fast. So there are a lot of ways that you can get around this boss fight being hard. Also, if you know the exact locations that the dragon is going to land every time, then you're going to know exactly where to shoot him every time as well. You have to shoot him in the wing, then the stomach, then the neck. And as long as you know where to go, it's really simple. The next comment is from Zombie Slayer, and he said, hardest Easter egg step, Gersh step, Garad Krovi. So the Gersh step is pretty difficult. You need to shoot Gersh with a pack-a-punch gun. Now, I would definitely recommend using the Ray Gun Mark III for this step, because if you shoot fast enough, you can actually trap Gersh in one location with the ray gun side of the Ray Gun Mark III. Now, as far as this step goes, basically there's a Gersh orb going around the map. He's going to switch between tank side, supply depot, and spawn, and basically go in between the armory, the infirmary, and it can be a little bit annoying because you have to find the sound of him. And honestly, I think it's a cool step because it explains the story of Gersh a little bit, which we never really got too much in Ascension. But I still think that this Easter egg step is pretty difficult, but once you know how to do it, and as long as you have the Ray Gun Mark III, you should be pretty proficient at it. It really isn't that hard once you get used to the path. The next comment is from Rampage, and he said, Wisp step on Horizon Jack is really hard solo, but co-op it's annoying. So I think honestly that this is probably one of the easiest steps in Zombies Easter eggs goes, because all you have to do is shoot the wisps with the bow. Now if you know all the locations, it's really easy, and what I recommend doing for this is I recommend starting off in the main area, like the Eagle's Nest area, and it can either be on the clock or the radio. Then you run up to the church tower, and it's either going to be on the timer if it's not there, or the clock rather. If it's not there, then you're going to run over to the power. If it's not at power, you run down, and you can run by Samantha's globe in Samantha's room, between her room and the office. Now if it's not there, then you can run down to the room where you have to upgrade the lightning staff, and it can be on the boxes. If it's not there, it's going to be on the tire under the car, and you can just drop down, and then you can check the telephone in the spawn room. That's the way I go every single time, and I've never failed this step. So once you get the hang of it and you know where all the locations are, it can be really easy. So it's just one of those things you have to get used to. The next comment is from Puncakes, and he said, solo, the step on Origins where you have to go into the robot, press a button, then throw a G-strike within, I believe, 10 seconds. So the Rainfire step on Origins is definitely one of the most difficult. The best foot to go in is, if you're looking at where the robots are walking, is to the left side in the middle. Now once you do this, you want to wait till the robot is about to kick you out, and then you press the button and you go out right away. Then you have to jump up and throw the G-strike right onto the cement platform. Then it will break from the fire that is being shot from the robots with a G-strike. So this step is definitely a lot easier co-op, but in solo, once you get the hang of it, it can be pretty easy. That's kind of how most of these steps are. Once you get the hang of it, you never really mess up anymore. But this one is definitely a very hard step for sure. The next comment is from Brendan Brillhart. He said the hardest Easter egg step is transporting the Valkyrie and Mangler on Garad Krovi. If you don't have Undead Man walking, it's ridiculous. So Undead Man walking, basically what it does is it slows down the zombies to shambling slow speed for 10 minutes. So this is definitely a very good one. Now I would say that this step is pretty hard. I mean, there's 2 of these steps, so this is kind of 2 in 1. I figured I would just keep them together because I thought this comment was good. So the Valkyrie one, basically you have to walk the Valkyrie from spawn all the way over to the main area Dragon Command, and that one can be a little bit difficult. You just have to walk nice and slow, and you have to make sure that you do not shoot him, otherwise he'll die, and you have to skip around and then you have to start it again. So that one is definitely very, very hard. The next one, the Mangler one, is really not that hard. What you need to do is shoot off his right arm, and if you do that, then he won't have the cannon and he'll start running, and you can actually just run him right to Dragon Command. Now this step is definitely a lot easier than the Valkyrie step because honestly, like, there's going to be a bunch of zombies coming at you and stuff, so you just want to make sure you be really, really careful with it. And if you have teammates, just have teammates train in an area where they're like either the Mangler or the Valkyrie is not going to go, and then what will happen is all the zombies are going to stay there. They're going to get a large portion of the zombies that can spawn in at once, and it's going to be a lot easier to transport either the Valkyrie or the Mangler to Dragon Command. The next comment is from Mr. Straight Up Gamer. He said, hardest Easter egg step is getting the elemental punch on Origins because the thunder punch is only 1 hit to round 19. You have to do all the Easter egg steps before then, and it's easy to go down an excavation site. So I definitely agree with this comment. Now, getting those special punches, you have to get a tablet after filling all the boxes to get the regular normal thunder punch. Now this one can be very difficult if you go past round 18 because then you're gonna have to punch the zombies multiple times. Now a good thing for this is throwing down G strikes so the zombies are attracted to it. Also using a zombie blood is really good as well if you can get one, and also an insta kill is also very, very helpful. So if you get those 3 things, and in Black Ops 3 if you can run gobblegums for it, it can be a lot easier. Also idolize as well, it's just going to cause the zombies to stand still so they won't actually move, which can be a little more difficult. But I would say that using insta kill is probably the best one to use when you're doing this step. If you know you're gonna have some trouble with it, it's really, really good and really useful. All right, guys, the next comment is from Castria Marcelli, and he commented, hardest Easter egg step, Garad Crovey bomb step. So this one by far was the most commented hardest step out of any of them. This one got at least 50 comments on the video, and I 100% agree with this step because I always get anxiety when this step is going to be starting, but it's really not hard once you get used to it. So you need to look at the screen, see the order that the bombs go, and what you need to do is go and press the bombs in that specific order. Now if you're doing it solo, you have 3 minutes, which isn't too bad. You should be able to run around the map in that time. And also if you're playing co-op, just have people do 2 of them. So for example, you can have one person cover supply depot and the armory, another person cover the infirmary and tank, and then you can have one person cover the one in spawn, and then one person can cover Dragon Command. That's probably the easiest if you're playing 4-player, but if you're playing 2-player, just you can call it out. And also if you're playing solo, just pause and write it down. It makes it so much easier, and you can definitely get it done every time. So this one is definitely very, very hard, and I agree with everyone that commented this. It is probably the hardest step in my opinion in Zombies history, but once you get used to it, it can be very easy. The next comment is from a boy Lamborghini 23 PS4, and he commented, the hardest Easter egg step is the flag step on the Shadows of Evil Easter egg. Literally impossible without gobblegum. So this step is very difficult. What you have to do is do the 4 different areas. So there's one in the junction, then there's one at Waterfront, Footlight, and Canal District, and you have to do all of those with the flag in 2 different spots, then bring it to the keeper location. That's where you originally did the ritual steps. So this one is definitely very difficult if you don't have gobblegums. If you don't have gobblegums at your disposal, then you're going to want an apothecary servant and little Arnie's to do this step. Now if you're doing it with a team and you can use gobblegums, or you're just doing it solo and you can, then use fear and headlights. It's going to be really helpful, because then you can just look at the meatballs and they're not going to hurt the flag. Now, a common misconception with this Easter egg is that you need to shoot the Shadow Man. You actually don't need to, but he's going to spawn parasites, which can make it a little bit more difficult. So you don't actually need to shoot him if you don't want to, but it's just going to make it a little more difficult, because the parasites are really annoying, and if you get hit enough times, it's really going to hurt you. Alright guys, the second to last comment is from Mitch Bay, and he said the buried sharpshooter step 100%. So this got 67 thumbs up, and I would 100% agree with this one. The sharpshooter step on buried is very hard. If you guys didn't know, the buried Easter egg is a 4-player Easter egg, and the reason that this makes it so difficult is there's going to be a bunch of targets that pop up, and you have to shoot all of them. Now, if one person misses one of the sharpshooter, like target range things, then you have to completely restart. You have to make a wish in the fountain again and restart this step. Now, this can be very frustrating, but once you complete it, it plays some really awesome music. So let's listen to the music now, just because of how amazing it sounds once you finally complete it on buried. Man, that little jingle never gets old, but seriously, this is definitely one of the harder steps, but I think it's fun. I really enjoy this step. A lot of people hate this step, and it's a reason why a lot of people don't do the buried Easter egg, but I think that this one is really fun, and you have to have skilled players to do it with, though, which can make it pretty difficult. From my boy Sanjin the Bosnian, and he said probably the hardest Easter egg step in zombies is luring the napalm zombie from the MPL entrance through the cave to set the gas leaks on fire on Shang. Yes, this one is by far the hardest in my opinion, and I always get a ton of anxiety. 76 of you guys thumbed up this comment. Also, a bunch of you guys also commented it, and I would 100% agree with this one, because it is very difficult luring the napalm zombie. You want to make sure that you're in a good location so you don't blow it up. If you're not looking at the napalm zombie, it's gonna blow up. If you shoot it, it's gonna blow up. So there are a lot of different things. If you get too close to it, it's gonna blow up. So you need to be really careful with this one. Now, what I usually do when I'm doing this step is I go over near between, like right in front of where the slide is that you slide down onto the pressure plate. And if you stay there, when a napalm zombie spawns, you can avoid it completely. Then you go to spawn, go back into eclipse mode, and then one person can just make sure they have their eye on it and lure it through the different area. It can be very difficult, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. You just need to make sure that you have teammates that are listening to what you say, so that they know exactly where to go every single time. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this week's Call of Duty Zombies Top 10, the 10 hardest Easter egg steps in Call of Duty Zombies. If you guys disagreed with the list, let me know why, and comment another Easter egg step that you think is harder than all of these down in the comment section. Also, I just want to say that this video is super long, and I don't usually make videos this long, and I didn't expect it to go like over 18 minutes. That's insane. Also, I want to make sure you guys comment down below things pro zombies players do for next week's episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. My name is GregFPS, the Zombies Extraordinaire. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.